On August 10th, 2023, I made the decision not to touch alcohol for 30 days. More than 100 days have passed since, and it's about time for me to share my experience. If you're watching this video, you may be interested in giving up the booze, or you already did. In that case, congratulations. Disclaimer, I'm not an expert on this, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I have no idea about the science behind quitting alcohol. I'm not here to give advice, but for sure I can say that quitting drinking cannot be a bad thing. I was never a drinker. I always drank occasionally during parties, weekends. However, when I was living in London in my 20s, I drank heavily every single day. Getting drunk every single day, because that was what most people did. I'm in my 50s now and things have changed. I noticed a pattern that I started to dislike. I started drinking every day, just an aperitivo, a Aperol Spritz a day. Then during my dinners, I always opened a bottle of beer that I shared with my girlfriend. Although most of the time I drank alone, sometimes more than a drink per night. I'm not a social person, but when I gathered with friends and family, alcohol was constantly flowing. I quit just for 30 days. I wanted to see if I could challenge myself to not drinking for an extended period. To clarify for myself that I could do it, that I wasn't an alcoholic. What I know is that it takes years before you find out that you are an alcoholic. Unlike nicotine that causes addiction faster than any other drugs, alcohol can take up to 15 to 20 years, if not more, to turn you into an alcoholic. That means you don't realize you're dependent on alcohol until it's too late. Because I started drinking every day, I was worried that this was happening to me. I was getting drunk basically every day, and yet I was consistently telling myself that I was a casual drinker. Why do we lie to ourselves like that? Luckily for me, completing my 30-day no alcohol challenge was easy. I didn't notice any withdrawal symptoms. I was just fine and made the assumption that I wasn't an alcoholic yet. I remember that day. It was September 10th. I was at dinner with Lena and a friend, and we started talking about alcohol. We were having pizza, and when the topic arose, I remembered that my challenge was to be considered complete on that day. I could have had my pint of lager, because this is how it works. You can't have pizza without drinking beer. Like, you can't have spaghetti with tomato sauce without Parmesan cheese. Hey, I'm Italian, I know this stuff. I really wanted to. I really miss the taste of beer. Unlike nicotine, which I gave up almost 10 years ago, I get the art behind brewing beer, the cultivation and aging of precious wine. Nicotine is pure poison. And everyone who smokes and says that they do that because they like it, they're fucking lying. Nobody wants that shit. Every smoker for their first cigarette coughed and spit it out of their body because our body itself refuses that poison. We tell ourselves that we never get that addiction because we dislike that first puff, until we realize that is too late. Our body needs nicotine before we even have a say. The point I'm trying to make is that when you give up smoking, you're not really giving up a thing. Cigarettes kill you and are filthy and disgusting. Alcohol kills you too, but at least tastes good. That makes it hard for a lot of people. It certainly is hard for me. There are occasions in which I really miss drinking my Aperol Spritz. I enjoy the bittersweet taste, the the ice-cold sensation I got when swallowing. So, despite that, on that fateful September day, I decided to continue my challenge and try to reach 100 days without ever touching alcohol. Let me share my takeaways after these first 100 days as a totally sober person. I realized that society is sick. My girlfriend Lina was the only one supporting me all the way along. Everybody else has been a disgrace, trying to lure me into drinking, reminding me how miserable my life without alcohol is, and telling me how sorry they felt for my choice. Just this realization alone is worth my sobriety. Because I'm different from them. Not because I'm not drinking and they are, but because I would never make anyone feel that way. My advice to you is to tell everyone you know that you gave up alcohol, even if it isn't true, just to find out who your true friends are. I never realized that alcohol addiction was a social phenomenon, not just an individual problem. Why can we party without getting drunk? Why do we go out for a drink, not for a walk? Just for the pleasure of being together. I now know why. It's because there are people we call friends that we can only stand when drunk. I made a list of people whose company I enjoy only if we are drinking. Try to make your own list and see how many so-called friends wouldn't be fun to be around when sober. During these 100 days, I've been eating more than usual. I'm not limiting myself to anything. Yet I've lost 13 pounds, doing the same activity as before. I've saved $1,000 that I would have spent buying a couple of drinks per day. Although most times I was also buying rounds for the people I was drinking with. I'm sleeping like a baby, waking up early and energized. I remember that having even one occasional drink per week was making me wake up with a headache and affecting my mood throughout the day. I feel healthier. My organs are working correctly, doing the things they are supposed to do. When you drink even one beer, your organism doesn't function properly until it has wholly expelled all that poison. Yes, alcohol is poison, but most of all, I'm focused like I never remember. I feel 500% more productive. I rarely procrastinate and enjoy every second of my new life. Yes, it feels like living a new life. To me, productivity, discipline, clarity are the most important goals I have achieved as a sober person during the last 100 days. I lost some friends, and that is a good thing. I just hang out with those with whom I can have fun without being inebriated by the booze. Will I ever touch alcohol again? After spending 100 days detoxifying my body and installing a new mindset, it would be silly to fall back into the alcohol social trap. So, no. I don't plan to drink ever again. Right now, it doesn't feel like I'm giving up much. Instead, the rewards of staying sober are paying off big time. This is my story, my thoughts, my experience. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time.